Alright, here we go, part 2. Okay, this is part 2 of the most embarrassing stories I have involving either bedwetting or overactive bladder. For all those stories in the first video were true. If you aren't not sure what I'm talking about, I'll link it in this description below and you can watch the first video. I have a couple more stories I wanted to share with you, and most of them are like in the past 5 years. So as it is right now, I'm 24 years old. So in the past 5 years or 6 years, pretty much from the end of high school onwards, or maybe part of high school. But anyways, the one that I think stands out the most recently is my best friend and I talk about this one kind of like a couple times a year, like to bring up old embarrassing stories of each other's, which is like, I guess, what best friends are for. But this one is, we were hanging out during, I was gonna say recess. No, we were hanging out I think during lunchtime or a spare during high school. And we went down to the park in our neighborhood or something. And the park area had a fountain that wasn't like running or anything. It was just like an old stupid looking fountain with like a bunch of like bench seats like surrounding the fountain. So it was just like a small minor part of the park playing around there. And I might even insert a picture of the time that we were there, because this is the same day. And we were hanging out and like laughing and stuff. And I ended up laughing, I guess, too much at like one of the jokes or stupid things we were doing. Yeah, I think I knew I had to pee. There wasn't a bathroom around that I could like, I think there was, but at the time I didn't really know that the park had a bathroom. I kind of was ignoring it, and I was like, okay, I gotta go, but like, we're having so much fun like hanging out here. And then I went to sit down on one of the cement park benches, and like I peed my pants a little bit. I stood up and there was like a little like wet spot on the cement bench, and my friend laughed at me so hard. She was like, wait, did you actually just pee your pants, kind of thing? And yeah, and then we didn't know what to do, because like, I'm pretty sure it was during school hours or something, because and I couldn't drive, so like I couldn't take us home or anything. So we went to the hospital because it was up the road, and it was like the closest building to it, the park, and just like went to the bathroom, and I think I just tried to like clean off my pants and like make them like dry again. And I think I tied like my overshirt around my waist. But anyways, it was really embarrassing. I hated it, and like we kind of like made fun of it and joked and laughed around, but it was like so horrible for me. Anyways, my friend didn't even know at the time that I had bladder problems. Like, she's still my best friend to this day, but I wasn't going to tell her back then that I still wet the bed and stuff. So I don't remember when I told her, but like, things happen. Another good story, this one I think definitely happened in 2014, because same friend, her and I were just driving along one day. This isn't the story, but her and I were just driving home one day from the city, and I think we're just listening to Eminem. And I was just like, man, I wonder if he's ever going in concert. And like, so I think we looked it up, and then we figured out that in a month or 2 months later, in August, he was going to be touring in East Rutherford, New Jersey, as part of the Monster Tour with Rihanna. And we were stoked. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. We're going. And then we decided to figure out if we could get 2 other friends to go with us to split the cost of the hotel, because we had to stay overnight. And yeah, so then on the way home, because we rented a vehicle, I didn't want to take my freaking car down there. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna get stolen. But this kind of like a scare we had trying to leave the concert was that we couldn't find the car in an empty parking lot, because we had to stay and wait to get our merchandise after the show. And we finally found the car, but like the panic button wasn't like connecting. Like once we found like, it was a black car. Once we found the car, I was like still pushing the button, and like it wasn't going off until I was like within 40 feet, and I was like, well, that was useless. So anyways, we're driving home from East Rutherford. We're getting to the border of US and Canada, about to cross the border, but I really had to pee, as usual. Oh yeah, that was another story. So on the way there, I really had to pee. So I was driving, and I was like, man, I really gotta go. We just crossed the border. We had to stop, I think it was I want to say Watertown, but I don't think that was right, but we had to stop somewhere. And there was an IHOP coming up, and we wanted to eat breakfast at the IHOP because we don't have those in Canada, or at least not where I live. And we were super excited, but I was like driving so fast, like down the highway, trying to get to this IHOP because I really had to pee. Like, I was like very stern, and everyone was like scared for their lives. I was driving so fast. We get to the IHOP, and no matter what, I will always back into a parking spot. I hate driving into a parking spot. I am a pro at reversing, but I'm not very good at reversing out of a parking spot. Because most of the time I'm just in a rush to leave. Like as soon as I get there, I just want to find a good spot, park there, and be satisfied. I like to see out to my parking spot. But anyways, even though I had to pee a tremendous amount, I pulled into the I backed into the parking spot. My friends were like, "What's wrong with you? Why didn't you just pull in?" I'm like, I can't. I just have to back into the parking spot. So that was a scary part of their lives, but I was fine. But yeah, going back across the border to Canada, we were almost at the border, and I didn't see like a lot of people around. So like, I'm like, man, maybe I should just pull over and try and pee on the side of the road, which happens like on the regs. Like it's normal for me, but not so normal for people I'm with. So I ended up like peeing my pants a little bit in the car. So in not my car, we rented this Dodge Avenger, which is a crappy car. Don't ever buy one. And my friend in the back seat and another friend in the car saw it, and they were kind of like whoa, like yeah, whoa. They were just like making fun of me or whatever. But my other friend in the back seat saw it and wanted to take a picture of it to commemorate our trip or something, and I was just like, dude, no, that's not funny. And like the other two girls, like my best friend and the other girl, were like, no, dude, don't do that. I think she ended up taking a picture, but like I think she deleted it, but like we were both like, no, don't do that, like that's stupid. I still had to pee, like I leaked, but then we eventually got across the border, and then my other friend, my best friend, and I took off for the bathroom because she also had to go, but like she doesn't have this problem. So that was one story. Same person who tried to take a picture of the pee spot in the car. Her and I, like I think it was the same year, a couple of years ago, where we were driving together. Well, I was driving my car, and we were downtown Ottawa. We were going somewhere, and I remembered I was actually very close to where my urologist doctor's office was. And I remember I really had to pee, but like the thing was, like we had to pull off the highway and get into I wanted to get to a gas station across the street, but I couldn't make it, so I pulled into the parking lot across the street from it and like squatted in the corner of the parking lot to pee. Like it was broad daylight, and she was just laughing, and I'm just like, I can't. I'm going to pee my pants or pee in the car. It's just gonna happen. It has to be somewhere. Like I don't care. But yeah, that was really annoying. Same person. She was like kind of like, she thought it would be funny to take a picture again. Then I was just like, I don't understand the picture thing, but whatever. Another time when I was with one of the other persons in the car, we were driving down to see my best friend in Toronto a few years back. It was in the middle of the night. Well, not in the middle of the night. It was like 7, 8 o'clock at night in the middle of a rainstorm. And which is fine, not a big deal, but I really had to pee again. So actually, this is like a darker, not like well traveled highway, so like there was no cars around. So I remember I just pulled out of I stopped the car really suddenly, and I think the car was still in motion when I put it in park, and like I ripped open the car at the driver's side door and like squatted and peed right beside the car. And then she was kind of like laughing and stuff, and I was just like, I think I even leaked in my own car, but like I didn't really want her to see it, so like that was kind of annoying. I've done that many times where I've leaked in my own car, and there'll be like a little wet spot or something, and I just like I have to put like some sort of coat down or something if I'm traveling with people to hide it. So that's another thing that happens a lot. Even if I'm wearing a pad, like sometimes I'll still leak through the pad if it's a long drive. And I really don't want to, but like sometimes I just don't have any choice. Okay, so another thing that happened was, this was actually for an examination on my bladder. So I was having an ultrasound done on my bladder during like when you have a full bladder. So this had been an appointment I'd made for probably a few months at this point. So I was waiting to go to it, and they tell you to drink a full bottle of water or so before your appointment. So at least you have some urine ready in your bladder so they can do the whole ultrasound. However, I lived about an hour away from Ottawa, so like I would have to drive to Ottawa. So I was like, well, I'll just start drinking now so that by the time I get to my appointment, I'll have a full bladder and it won't be as big a deal. Oh yeah, so I park and I find I get to the doctor's office, or the doctor's waiting room area, and then they weren't like, most of the time, I don't know if this happens to everyone else in Canada, but most of the time my doctors aren't on time, or like appointments will never be the time you set them for. They'll always be like half an hour to an hour late. Sometimes, like that can happen. That's happened to me many times, sometimes even 2 hours late. I got to the appointment, I really had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, hey, I'm here, when's the appointment gonna be? And he's like, I think, you know, maybe 10-15 minutes. And I waited and I waited and I waited. I was in the waiting room and I really had to go to the bathroom. And eventually I told the person at the waiting desk, I'm like, is there any way they can do it now? Like, I really have to go to the bathroom. I need this ultrasound done now so I can go finish, like, go pee. And then they were like, sorry, no, you'll have to wait maybe another 10-15 minutes. Like, at this point, it has been almost that amount of time. And I was like, you know what? No, I can't do it. I'm so sorry. I have to go to the bathroom right now or I'm going to pee my pants. And they were like, okay. And then, like, I kind of took off for, like, the nearest bathroom. And then I went to the bathroom and I was, like, relieved, obviously, because I wasn't, like, holding on my bladder anymore. And I think I went back and I was, like, very upset with myself. And I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I had to go to the bathroom. Like, I was waiting for this appointment and I was trying to do the rules and I had to go. And they were like, well, we'll have to reschedule now. We can't wait for more urine to be produced or whatever, or wait around. So I was really upset. And I remade the appointment for, I think it was a week later, which wasn't too bad as opposed to like months later, which just takes time out of my day and my life and my job and stuff. So it was just, it wasn't even just that. It's the fact that I couldn't hold on to my own urine for that long. And I think I drove away from Ottawa, far enough away, and then I finally stopped in a parking lot and I just started crying. I was just so upset that I couldn't get one simple thing done that was going to help me hopefully not have this problem anymore. It was just like very coincidental or ironic, if you would, and it hurt me so deeply. And then the next week I was prepared. This time I didn't drink on the way to the hospital, and then actually I didn't even have a full bladder by the time my appointment was ready, so I actually had to walk around the hospital for 20 minutes drinking some water in like a gown. I looked really weird. I was like la 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 drinking my water, and eventually went back and had the ultrasound done, and they're like, yeah, you're normal, you have a normal bladder, it's the same size, it's fine, like you can void, everything's fine. I was like, okay, thanks, I knew that already. So I have two more stories. The other story is that, so my best friend will come down to this Ottawa area, and we used to stay at her aunt and uncle's house. I used to stay at my best friend's aunt and uncle's house every now and then to like sleep over and like hang out the next day and stuff, back in high school and so on. Actually, my best friend was the person who told me you should put down pads or you should wear diapers to bed. I was like, I guess I just try doing that, and I just did, and a few years ago I never stopped, because I think this is what led up to this point, was the fact that we were at her aunt and uncle's house. And I guess I had wet the bed. Well, not I guess. Like, I knew I had wet my underwear, and there's, like, wet clothes in the room that I was staying in. So, like, I'd put them in, like, my bags in my suitcase or whatever. This particular night I had wet the bed, and I was, like, laying down towels from their house to sleep on because I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, you try wetting the bed and figuring out what to do. Like, it's horrible. So, and then I remember my friend telling me years later that, I think she told me recently that they could smell it from across down the hall in the living room. They'd be like, there seems to be a strong odor coming from Olivia's room, and I think they had said something like, did she wet the bed? And then being just embarrassed for me, like the three of them, my best friend and her aunt and uncle, just being like, oh, okay, kind of like, and they just never told me, and it was so awkward, and I don't really remember the whole details. I just remember them knowing, and then no one doing anything about it. The last story isn't really a story, it's just many other instances where I'd stay over at my best friend's place, and like, at the time we'd sleep in the same double-sized bed together, and like, she would be at the door side and I'd be on the wall side like this, and I'd be like squished up against the wall, and I'd be like trying to get away from her, as far away from her in case I did leak. And I don't know what it is, like I just think like everyone's gonna pretend with me or something, because if I leaked like a tiny bit on their bed, they just pretend it was nothing. But I remember like throughout the years like having to like get up out of her bed, like shimmy out and then go run to the bathroom, and then shimmy back in without waking her up. Or other times when I actually would wet the bed, my underwear and my pants a little bit, and it would leak into the bed, and then it was just so awkward. Like, she would just be like, why wouldn't you just tell me and we could fix this and wouldn't have to smell like urine all the time? And I was like, I'm so sorry. But anyways, those have just been some of my troubles through life. Again, like not all of those things are fixed, like still most of the time I still leak the bed, wet through the diaper and all that kind of stuff, and wet through the pad, and I have to be very careful how I sit and where I sit, and to make sure that if I do start to leak into the pad that I go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom before it gets worse and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, yeah, that was just some more stories. They still are pretty embarrassing, like especially since most of the time they were mostly in social events and whatever. So thank you for watching and cringing with me. That would be great. I'd really appreciate if you cringed with me. And also subscribe if you like these kind of stories and want to hear more. I'm sure I have more in the vault somewhere. I just gotta come up with them, because I'm sure I just repressed most of them. But also just subscribe if you generally just want to go through these times with me. Anyways, it is, I think, it is 17 more days till surgery, so that's super awesome. Whee! And I'm really excited to finally get this done, and I'm just anxiously waiting to be able to leave work and be like, sayonara, go away for 2 weeks, come back and be all fixed up hopefully. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!